Colt Ryan, and the Evansville Aces will try to shut down Howard and the Bulldogs on the Dogs' home court. It's Butler against Evansville next on MyIndy TV. Takes it right to the hoop. And he puts it in. Marshall with the dunk.
Live on MyIndy TV, it's the Evansville Purple Aces versus the Butler Bulldogs.
And a welcome to Hinkle Fieldhouse, the place where the Bulldogs have won 17 games in a row. Today they play host to the Purple Aces of Evansville, who comes in 2-2 on the year, while the Bulldogs are ranked 23rd in the country and 3-1 on the season. And good afternoon to you. Glad to have you here with us today for Butler basketball here on MyIndy TV, Channel 23. I'm Anthony Calhoun, along with Ralph Reith. Good seeing you as always, partner. And today, let's begin with the big news regarding the Butler basketball team. And Ronald North, their junior point guard, will not play in today's game due to a concussion he suffered on Tuesday night against Siena. How big of a loss is it for the Dogs not having him ready to play today?
Well, it's a lost leader for Butler University. Ron Norwood has played in the last 74 games for Butler University. His replacement today, Alex Anglin, has played 72 minutes in his 4 years here at Butler.
Well, the Bulldogs are going to have their hands full today dealing with Colt Ryan for the Purple Aces. What do you like about this guy?
This sophomore out of Batesville, 6'5", Colt Ryan, averaging 17 points a game, had 31 points at Middle Tennessee State on Thursday night. This is arguably the most explosive offensive player Butler has faced this season.
All right, let's take a look at the Advantage Health keys to the game. Let's begin first with the Purple Aces.
Well, Evansville comes in here today, and because of the change at point guard for Butler, Alex Anglin will be handling the point. They need to pressure the point and take advantage of that from Evansville's perspective. Secondly, Evansville is a great movement offense. Their half court is extraordinary with passing game. They need to pass to put pressure on Butler's half court defense. And Colt Ryan, they need to ride and saddle up Colt Ryan for a big day today for Evansville to show well here at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
And what about Butler's keys to the game?
Well, Butler comes in here today doing a great job, and what they've got to do is they've got to go opposite. They've got to really hold down Colt Ryan. He is the trigger man for Evansville's Aces, and they've got to take care of Colt Ryan. The bench, 34-8 scoring advantage on Tuesday at Siena for the Butler Bulldog bench. Their bench rotation is important to Butler. They've got to show well today. And thirdly, no Ron Norwood. How will this team take the advantage of the adjustment for Butler today?
All right, Butler will try to make it 8 straight against the Purple Aces when we come back. We'll have the starting lineup and the tip-off. Butler against Evansville next.
Just because it's football season, you don't have to rush all over town to tackle a great deal on tires. For the guaranteed lowest in-style price, step into Raven Tire and Auto Service.
And right now, get up to $160 when you buy 4 select Goodyear tires.
Score big at Raven Tire and Auto Service.
When the need for physical or occupational therapy becomes part of your life, remember that you are the patient and you have a choice. The therapist you choose will work alongside you in cooperation with your doctor to achieve the desired results. Pro Rehab is privately owned and operated by physical and occupational therapists. They have numerous professionally licensed therapists and countless satisfied patients. Visit their website at prorehab-pc.com, then make an educated choice. Pro Rehab.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and at the North Pole, Kris Kringle was worried and tough to console. He'd wrapped the kids' presents, not one had he missed, but he'd forgotten his wife on his own Christmas list. Mrs. Claus was so picky with colors, sizes, and all, he'd be in hot water if he dropped the ball. As St. Nick grew most
Evansville, Lacey, Holmes, Ryan, Harris, and Von Tongren for the Purple Aces. And for the Butler Bulldogs, starting lineup here, we talked about it at the beginning. Alex Anglin in for Ronald Norwood. He gets to start his first career start with the Bulldogs. You see Mac Pond, Marshall, and Howard, the starting lineups for the Butler Bulldogs today against the Purple Aces. Anthony Calhoun, Ralph Reef here. The Bulldogs returning home after their impressive win on Tuesday night against Siena, winning that game 70-57, while the Purple Aces lost on Wednesday to Middle Tennessee 82-70. Head coach Marty Simmons of Evansville, his 4th season, a record of 37-58, and Brad Stevens in his 4th year with the Dogs, 92-16. That's the man in charge here. It's tipped. We're underway. Of course, Butler in the home white, Evansville in the visiting purple. Last meeting, the Bulldogs won 64-60 in that game down in Evansville, but Evansville leads the overall series 60-55.
When they started out with Mack at the point instead of Anglin, so Shelvin Mack handles the basketball. Hahn plays a 2, as well as Alex Anglin is nice feed inside.
Bulldogs have owned this series, though, over the past years. They've won 7 straight against Evansville. They try to make it 8 here today. At the free throw line, they're Alpha. Kyle Marshall, freshman.
Well, the foul situation came because of a nice job. They've got to respect Matt Howard when he takes the ball inside the paint. So there was a double team, nice rotation over. Matt Howard knew somebody was open. He knew Kyle Marshall would be on the block. Got the ball to him. Great job of teamwork inside with the big men for Butler.
Keep your eye, folks, on number 11 for Evansville. Colt Ryan coming off an outstanding night on Wednesday. Scored 31 points. There's Ryan there, and they're going to get him for traveling here. On the sophomore out of Batesville, Indiana, coming in averaging about 17 points a game. We talked to Brad Stevens today about Colt Ryan, and he said one thing: impressive, right?
Well, he's impressive not only with the basketball as a shooter, he can score, but he's a tremendous passer. At Middle Tennessee on Thursday, 6 assists to go along with his 31 points.
Marshall in the lane, and he knocks it down. Kyle Marshall, the freshman, moving into the starting lineup a couple of games ago and making his presence known early on here against the Purple Aces. And we got an offensive foul here. On Evansville, Kevon Lacey picking up his first personal foul.
Turnovers by Evansville the first 2 possessions. They run a very aggressive half-court motion offense. It's really fun to watch. First one was a travel. This time there was a moving screen by the Aces.
Traveling call on Marshall. You can tell early on between these two teams, they're trying to find themselves, if you will. We've seen some quick turnovers.
Well, they certainly are, and Colt Ryan for Evansville in his first possession was wide open. Anglin had a bad angle on him defensively. Colt was wide open in the lane, just took too many steps without a dribble.
Here's Ryan, the jumper, that's good. Evansville here, getting their first points of the game. Here's Mack, he'll take the 3. Shelvin Mack shooting over 36% from behind the arc. Not afraid at all to take 3-pointers.
Well, and that's exactly, we talked to Marty Simmons from Evansville before the game, that Shelvin Mack's danger is he'll put it right in your face from a 3-point line, or he'll take you right to the rim. He's so diverse in his offense, what makes him a very valuable basketball player.
Ryan, Lacey with the jumper. He knocks it down.
Now that's the vulnerability of Butler's defense. They cannot match up man-to-man. They have to switch, they have to hedge, they have to help. And with the quickness of the passing game is to Evansville's advantage, as it was in that last possession.
Turn over here. Here's Lacey, over to Harris. That's the 3-pointer. Denver Holmes coming through with the 3-pointer, and Evansville has a 1-point lead.
Well, Holmes did a nice job. Again, they find the open man. Good ball handling. This is a challenge early on for Butler's defense.
Foul here on the Purple Aces. Denver Holmes, his first personal. Got a chance to talk to Marty Simmons today, and Marty told us that he knew this was going to be a challenge for his basketball team. Playing against a very good Butler basketball team, and he talked about the fact that one thing his team is going to have to do a better job of, and that's Marshall taking the jumper. Lacey comes away with the rebound. side here. Good defense by the Bulldogs, but Marty talked about the fact that one thing he's concerned about going up against the Bulldogs is Hahn takes a three. So stay here with Butler. He told us that transition is critical in this game when it comes to trying to defend Butler, because they have a lot of playmakers, and when doing transition, it can be tough, right?
They can, exactly, and talking about the pace of the game, and here Colt Ryan tried to get the ball off of Anglin, but it missed him. Ball stayed on the offensive end for Butler, but they turned it over. Going back to that point, Marty knows that Butler transitions more than they have traditionally. In other words, they are a team that will push the basketball, particularly because of Mack and the way he can run. Now you add Kyle Marshall as an athlete who likes to run and can manage the basketball. So this is a more fast-paced Butler team than Evansville has faced.
Ryan coming up short. Mack there with the rebound. Butler down by one. There's Howard coming off a double-double night. Nice move to the hoop, and he puts it in. Matt Howard averaging about 15 points a game. As we mentioned, had 17 points, 12 rebounds in their win against Siena on Tuesday night. Howard with the rebound. Here's Mack pushing it. Mack can't get it to go down. It's going to stay here. We got a foul here on Colt Ryan for Evansville. Timeout here on the floor. 15:58 left to play here in the first half. The Bulldogs with a 1-point lead. Fire, Ralph, here. Big night for him.
Well, it certainly was. He had a double-double. He went for 17 points and 12 rebounds. He's averaging on the season just under 16 points a game and just under 10 rebounds a game. And he is just so much more agile this year. You know, as a body type, you know, he's thinned down, but he hasn't lost strength. He's gained strength. It's his lateral mobility. You'll see today that Matt Howard will catch the ball on the three-point line, and he's got the green light to shoot it or put the ball on the floor and go to the basket, as he did for his first 2 points of this ball game. He drove all the way in from the three-point line to score his first two. This is a retooled and redefined Matt Howard.
Also 44. Smith, number 44, in the game here for the Bulldogs, and turnover here by Butler.
Great job by Lewis Jones there of Evansville to slap that ball away. Good help defense. And a turnover by Lewis on the other end. But good defensive pressure on the sophomore Andrew Smith, who comes in playing really well. Had 7 rebounds himself, Andrew Smith, at Siena. He is a young man who is improving with each half that he plays.
Back to Matt Howard. We talked to Brad Stevens today, and I kind of joked around with him about him taking those 3-pointers, and Brad said he can take it anytime he wants to.
Absolutely, and I was surprised by that as well, because in watching practices, Matt has not been in that 4 position as much. But with the development of Andrew Smith, the sophomore, playing more at the 5, that allows Matt Howard to play at the 4 more often, which in the Horizon League will give opponents nightmares on matchups to try to match up with Matt Howard at the 4 position of moving the ball around. In the Butler's offense, the 4 plays on the perimeter a lot.
Sean Van Zant, number 2, coming in here for the Dogs. That's number 33. Chase the Gall as Howard takes it to the hoop. Can't get it to go, and we've got a foul on the Bulldogs. Chase the Gall coming off a night where he scored 9 points in their win against Siena. Brad Stevens not afraid at all to use his bench here, is he?
No, he's not, and he likes the rotation off the bench. He likes Van Zant coming in after taking a look. Chase DeGaulle has really earned his time on the floor. He's a taller Zach Hahn. Chase DeGaulle 6'5", where Zach Hahn comes in at 6'3". Those 2 inches make a big difference defensively.
Got another foul here on the Bulldogs.
Foul on the Bulldogs, 33, Chase DeGaulle. That's
his first personal, team second.
Evansville runs a lot of motion in their out-of-bounds plays. They'll screen down, try to get a shot looping in right in there into the lane.
Side pass, and Got a foul on the Bulldogs again as Clint Hope will go to the line and he'll shoot two. Evansville, they're in a situation here to take a look at this replay.
Well, what they do they run a box out of bounds set, and they'll run a cutter across as a deception down into the low block opposite the inbound, and they'll run the ball out to the three-point line. That gets your defense shifting. Then they slip a screen and put a guy right in the paint, and that's where Hop is right now, shooting the free throws.
One thing about the Purple Aces, they played very well in the first half. As a matter of fact, in two of their losses, they actually led at halftime, had a nice lead at halftime, or led in the first half, and they come up short in the second half. As a matter of fact, they were up against Indiana this year, down in Bloomington a couple of weeks ago, and so they're very competitive in the first half. It's the second half where they have the problems.
Well, it certainly is, and both of those games, Middle Tennessee and Indiana, both those squads made changes, significant changes. Indiana last Sunday came out in the second half, and because of their athletes, just started switching every screen against the motion offense of Evansville. And in switching the screens, Evansville wasn't able to get the kind of action they did in the first half, and it resulted in a loss.
We're tied here at 8 apiece. With the defense here by the Purple Aces. Taylor all over Van Zandt. He's going to go to the line. He's going to shoot two. Troy Taylor of Anderson, Indiana. His first personal foul.
You know, this just isn't Butler offense. You know, Van Zandt, Sean just held the ball way too long. Too much dribbling by Sean. He didn't have his head up looking to be a good passer. He had four other teammates on the floor who really weren't guarded because he was drawing all the attention. And then he goes in. Certainly results in going to the free throw line, but now he's missed his front end. So it's really turned into a bad decision because Sean had a lot of time on the shot clock, should look for an outlet, ends up missing both free throws.
He can't get both free throws there to go. So 8-8. Evansville coming in 2-2 on the year. The Bulldogs 3-1 on the season. And that's Ned Cox, the sophomore out of San Antonio, Texas. And Evansville has a 2-point lead.
Well, they just ran beautiful offense. They're cutters, and it got Butler confused.
Nice take to the hoop by Van Zandt.
Sean's got a scowl on his face. He wanted to make up for the missed free throws. He knew he made a bad decision. The last trip down, he made up for it this time, beat his man to the rim.
To take a three. Can't get it to go. Howard with the rebound. Van Zandt again. Howard for three. Huff there with the rebound.
Now these last three possessions, Butler fans are missing Ron Norrid. No one to take control of the half-court offense. Your true point guard is not in the game, and he's not available. And so you've got a mismatch because no one really is taking control offensively by Butler. Van Zandt tries, but he's not the guy. Gets to Mack, and he's not sure what to do. They are all looking for Ron Norrid to appear on the half court, and he's not here today.
That's right. In case you're just joining us, there's Ronald Norrid. Not playing in today's game due to a concussion.
He's doing his own bit of coaching on the floor, which will be his greatest asset today.
Here's Fromm for three. He knocks it down. Eric Fromm, the freshman out of Bloomington, Indiana, comes right into the game and hits a three-pointer to give Butler a three-point lead. Ryan for three. Harris battling for the rebound. There's Fromm as well. We stay here with the Purple Aces.
In for Evansville, number 13, Jordan Jar.
Jordan Jar checking in, number 13 for Evansville.
You know, this half-court offense by Evansville is just tremendous in their motion and how they screen one another. That last play in particular, Van Zandt gave up when he had to go through two screens and just finally gave up on Colt Ryan.
And we've got a foul here on Butcher. Another foul on the Bulldogs.
You see what we're talking about with this motion offense by Evansville is they'll just screen away. Watch Lacey out top with screen Van Zandt from top of the key. And then Hahn's going to come across. So now you've got guys running into themselves. Then there's another screen on Van Zandt. He just gives up. Colt Ryan has a wide open look at the rim.
There's Lacey. Against Van Zandt.
More patience this time by really created by Butler's defense. Got the moving screen there on, who's that on?
Jordan Char. His first personal foul. Brad Stevens told us today, though, Ralph, he knew that there was not going to be any easy baskets at all for his basketball team.
Well, there never is against Evansville. I mean, I've watched Evansville-Butler games for 30 years, and Evansville, regardless of who's coaching at Evansville, they play hard, and they get up on you, they get after it. They love playing defense at Evansville.
Bulldogs try to work it around. Here's Anglin, got the start today. And we've got a carry here on Anglin. Timeout here on the floor. 11:38 left to play in the first half. The Bulldogs have a 3-point lead.
At Owensboro Music Center, we know it's
Basketball on MyIndy TV is brought to you in part by the Financial Center, your Indianapolis Honda dealers, and by Unique Home Solutions.
We're back here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. The Bulldogs with a 3-point lead with 11:38 left to play in the first half. And we have seen so far both teams really lay a whole lot out here on the floor here so far, right?
Well, they certainly have. Both teams have 5 turnovers each. Very uncharacteristic for Butler, averaging just a little over 9 turnovers a game through their first 4 games. 5 turnovers today. Ron Norwood not playing due to a concussion. The floor leader certainly showing the effects early.
Holmes steps on the baseline there. Sideline, 6 turnovers now for an Evansville team that comes in averaging about 15 turnovers a game. Great pass, Anglin, a little reverse. Can't get it to go. Butcher with the rebound. Van Zandt thought about the 3. Great pass to Butcher. He can't get it to go. Holmes comes back the other way.
Well, Evansville survived the onslaught of chances there by Butler, but Garrett Butcher just finding a nose for the basketball. Tremendous efforts underneath the rim.
Side here to Ryan. Here's a 3. Char comes up short. Tom. Butcher, the jumper. Chard with the rebound. Evansville running. Harris to the hoop. Counted in a foul. Kenneth Harris, 6'6" junior out of St. Louis, Missouri, in the bucket and the foul there.
Van Zandt giving him a pat on the back for great speed to get down the floor and making the effort at it, but threw his arms out into the chest of the offensive player. So a couple ways he created the foul there, but Evansville got the ball out, really pushed it down the floor. A much smaller lineup for Butler right now. Even though Andrew Smith is in at the center, this is a squad for Butler that's got an unusual mix of skills. Van Zandt, Mack, and Zach Hahn, really your 1s and 2s. Now you've got Matt Howard back in for Andrew Smith, so you've got a little bit different look. But Butcher really coming in being the hard-working, hard-hat kind of player today for Butler.
Look at inside here to Howard, and almost a turnover to Howard, gets it back, and he's going to count, and the foul. Boy, did the Bulldogs get lucky on that play.
Yeah. Matt Howard was holding his breath when that whistle blew because he knew there was contact and Evansville was sitting there waiting on him. That was, he had his breath held. You know, a turnover, 6th turnover, they get the ball back, and he goes in, puts this bucket in, makes himself worthwhile.
And he gets it to go. Much needed 3-point play there for the Bulldogs. Taylor, number 5, checks back in here for Evansville. 16-13. Under 10 minutes left to play here in the first half. Anthony Calhoun, Ralph Reef. Butler basketball here on My Indy TV, Channel 23.
Sean Van Zandt doing a much better job on Colt Ryan. He's on his hip. He's checking his ankles better. Colt's not able to catch the ball open like he was earlier.
Tough shot by Ryan. Howard with another rebound.
And that's the difference between a make and a miss. Is right there. Van Zandt was on him as soon as he caught the ball. Ryan was going to shoot it, but he didn't have his feet set.
There's Van Zandt to the lane. Can't get it to go. Look at Howard working the board. He puts it in. Got a timeout here by Marty Simmons and the Purple Aces. Marty Simmons calls timeout here for Evansville as the Bulldogs have an 18-13 lead.
Boy, what a beautiful day inside Hinkle Fieldhouse today. Fans, there's a number of fans who are wearing sunscreen today with the sunlight through the windows, but you can come here and experience Butler basketball for yourself at Hinkle Fieldhouse. To buy single game tickets, stop by the Hinkle ticket office. You can go to Clues Hall, your Ticketmaster outlets, on the web, your handheld, walking around while you're shopping. Shop for some tickets on Ticketmaster and come to Hinkle Fieldhouse. They will be home for Mississippi State on December 11th.
That's
and they've
right.
got another game here New Year's Day, January 1st, Valparaiso here in Hinkle Fieldhouse on New Year's Day. So a number of great settings. Stanford will be here December 18th. Lots of great basketball inside Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Harris in the lane, and he puts it in.
Boy, great slip screen by Harris. Matt Howard came down, took the baseline away from him. Harris did a nice job of sliding through, stayed focused on the basketball and the rim for 2 points.
Mack pulls up. Howard with another rebound. He gets fouled. Matt Howard, very active, Ralph, around the rim. Exactly what Brad Stevens is expecting from his senior.
You know, we hear about it in the sport of football quite often, how a running back will get better as the game goes on. As they get in a rhythm, they get more carries, they get beat up a little bit, and they get stronger. That's what Brad Stevens said about Matt Howard. He is better as the game goes on. His motor gets charging, and he's a better second half player in his games this year than he is in the first half. Pay attention to that today, how Matt Howard just seems to get stronger as this game goes on. He is a real joy to watch. I love his new body. He's thinner, trimmer, jumps higher, he's more agile. Great Matt Howard.
He heads to the bench there with 9 points. Lead the Dogs in scoring. So far, Holmes with the jumper. Mack with the rebound. Haven't talked too much about Sheldon Mack in this game. Mack right to the hoop. And we've got a traveling call on Sheldon Mack. 6th turnover here by the Bulldogs. Well, what exactly, Ralph, is Butler been able to do here right now to have that 5-point lead against Evansville?
Well, it's really the infusion of Matt Howard. He got a 3-point play that put him up by 3 over Evansville, and then it was a matter of shutting down some offensive series by Evansville. Evansville's getting open shots. They're just not putting them in. They're shooting 40% right now, 6 of 15 from the floor. They're getting like this open look.
Cox for 3.
They're just not getting them to go down.
Good defense. And Zach Hahn is going to stay here with the Purple Aces. Timeout here on the floor. It's 20-15. Butler with the lead.
Evansville basketball will hook you. We've got great plays, slam dunks, non-stop hustle, twists, turns, and more action than you could ever follow. So don't blink. This is